How many of you had the experience to where you've been, driving down the street and you felt an urge to stop or turn or make a turn someplace and you didn't do it, you just went on? Okay. What you're going to learn this weekend is you're going to learn to follow those. You might call them, in the past you may have called them hunches, you might have called them instincts, you might have called them gut feelings, okay? But you're going to start getting messages, that you're going to be getting, you're going to be driving down the road and you're going to be getting this urge. This is one of the things that convinced Ross totally, okay? And he followed it. In this case, we're talking about manifesting this girl that he wanted to meet. And he had this picture of a perfect girl that he wanted to meet. Right? So he's driving down the street and he gets this urge, to pull in and stop at this coffee shop that he hasn't been in months or years. Okay? Walks into the coffee shop and there sits the girl. Okay? That's the type of things that you're going to start happening to you, right? If you allow them to. If you just resist them and keep on driving, then that's the way it's going to be. Right? But this is the type of things you're going to start noticing and the type of things that's going to happen. So the things you're going to get, very connected with this weekend is the whole concept of when it comes to psychic stuff, there really is no such thing as skepticism. It doesn't really exist. There's a case of misinformation. And some of it, by the way, is a case of where your government wants it to be that way. Okay? But what's going to happen is, coming back, what's going to happen is you're going to find that things are going to be different for you. That you're going to start getting these hunches, these feelings, these gut feelings, this urge to do something, to take some type of different action than you've taken before. And you're going to find yourself doing it. You're going to find yourself making that turn, okay? And pulling in, to that coffee shop and walking in and seeing what's there, okay? It happens all the time. Since we've been teaching this with Amos back here, our video guy, some amazing stuff has been happening to him. He can share that with you on breaks. Basically, his business has gone from $50,000 a year to $500,000 a year in 3.5 years. Okay. But okay. So any questions on that? So that's what it amounts to is. So you got to be careful with some of this stuff. I can give you some examples of again, as a Bandler seminar about 2.5 years ago in Austin, Texas. And a young man we were doing an exercise there and energy and so forth and so on. He says, "Can you really use this to call women over?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "How about that woman over there?" I said, "Okay." So I happened to know her name because I'd met her earlier. So I turned and I did my thing, and so in about 3 seconds, she came over and I introduced her to this guy, and he's just blown away. Okay, and he says, "Can I sit by you the rest of the seminar?" I said, "Sure." So the next day he's saying, "So you can do this anytime you want to, and you can do it?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Can you do it again?" I said, "Yeah." And it's talking about precision, and Ross will get into the precision part of this, right? So I was sloppy. So the day before, I basically looked at her, beamed at her, and said her name. Okay, "Sue, come here." Okay, and she turned and came over. The second day, I'm playing a game, and I basically turned to her, and he's standing here, and I turned to her, and she's sitting down, and I broadcast basically, "Woman, come here." Didn't say Sue, it said, "Woman, come here." And she turned and looked at me and started to get up, and a guy came over and stopped her. Okay, I turned back to France, and there was a woman standing right here with her hand out. So something just told me to come over and introduce myself. Okay. And so you got to be careful. Right? One of the things you've heard in the past is be careful what you wish for, you may get it. Okay. So one of the things you're going to learn this weekend is precision. Okay. We're going to go through a precise set of steps Ross has done a marvelous job at doing this. You know, precise set of steps, step by step, of what you need to do. Okay.